Please show your love. Just been on Channel 10. Pinchas Levinson coming here for you. Hey, thank you, David. Yeah. David, a great comedian, really. Woo! Okay, good to see you guys. Yeah, you came just in time. I like that just-in-time arrival. Most of you look like you're locals here, you know the scene. What's happening this week? What's the big news of the week? No, daylight savings time, right? You guys all said, and it's really exciting, but that's going to happen on Thursday. Everyone gets to set their clock ahead an hour, right? Unless, of course, you're a Democrat working in healthcare, then you want to set your clock back a year, you know? That's the more normal. And anybody see Obama this week in the interview on Fox News? Petulant, evasive. You see this guy? I mean, finally they throw him some hardballs, and you know, he chokes. And tomorrow, of course, the Democrats are going to force this vote. I don't know. It's right. It's pretty arcane, but it's called Demon Pass. You know, they're going to whatever. It's really bad news. And of course, Obama says to all these wavering Democrats, you know. You either vote for this or I will campaign in your district next year, you know. I mean, people are not real happy that he's around. You know, he goes to Ohio, right, okay, to try and sell health care, okay, so, you know, because he wanted to go to Dennis Kucinich, whatever. Anyway, he shows up at this senior citizens home, right, you know, and the woman raises her hand, and what did she ask him? When's the bingo gonna be? You know, that's about the extent people care about health care, you know. You know, all the money that the Democrats throw at it and the Republicans, you just put that into healthcare and you solve the system. Anyway, we have our own issues with the Americans here, of course. You know, the most recent was this Ramat Shlomo building. You know, 1,600 apartments. You know, what's the bloody big deal? Okay. No. The Americans take this seriously. They posted the pictures of all the contractors on Interpol, right? And all these guys are now wanted, you know. You know, they're playing the hardball here, you know. But even Joe Biden himself, right, comes, and what does he say when he gets back to America? Well, it's great to be a place where a housing boom is really wanted, you know. I mean, you know. And of course, you know, if the Americans want to wipe this whole effort out, what do? They fund the bloody thing themselves, right? Then they give everybody an adjustable rate mortgage with Countrywide, and by July they're out, foreclosed the whole bit. I mean, that's really the American way on how to get this building to stop. You know, they just tear the whole thing down. But in any event, of course, Hillary has her 42-minute talk with Bibi. Now Bibi way back fashioned himself as the Bill Clinton of Israel. Okay, you know, and finally, after 42 minutes of listening to Hillary, you know, he turns to his wife and he says, "You know, Sarah, you have that Hillary look about you. You know, I mean, it's political wives travel a long way, both there and here." But the Netanyahu family did have some nachas this week, right? And anybody know what happened there that was good for Bibi? No? Right. Very good. Someone's awake. His son Avner, his younger son, won the Israeli Bible Championship. You know, he's thinking, oh, what a fadich. I got one son who's in the government press office. At least this one's something of a mensch, you know. But of course, you know, they don't really talk about how the judges were complaining that the bodyguards were whispering in his ear, you know. But okay, we won't talk about that. And then, of course, when we come to after the national championship is the international championship, which occurs on Independence Day. So the Prime Minister gets to ask a question. Okay, so what, of course, is the question he's going to ask his son? You know, why didn't you clean up your room today? You know, what's the kid going to say on international television? And for those of you not knowing, in the usual tradition in Passover is where the youngest asks the 4 questions. But of course, this year to the Netanyahu family, the Prime Minister will ask his son what's going on, and he's going to have to answer them. But our big news here, whatever. Israelis travel in a different world. They have a different mindset, okay? And what, of course, fixated the public this week, it was the opening of, it wasn't the Temple Mount violence, right? It was the violence at the opening of the H&M store in Tel Aviv, right? In Azriel, you know, the pushing and the shoving and the shouting, you know, the whole bit. Yeah, it was really bad news. I mean, these people got trampled upon, right? You know, we have this Kadisha Burial Society. They said they had to move the place. There was people just underfoot, you know. I mean, it was like, by the time that people got to the checkout counter, the warranty had already run out on the product, you know. I mean, there was nothing left. Or, of course, for the kosher types, right? They were able to give them a meat meal when they walked in, and they could give them a dairy cheesecake when they walked out. It was 6 hours at least till they got through the store. You know, and then we also had this week IKEA, you know, was the big Swedish furniture chain. Okay, so they opened the second, finally, they opened the second store in Rishon LeZion, right? They have the one in Netanya, Rishon LeZion. And of course, immediately what shows up in the Swedish newspapers? But the Israelis are again practicing dismemberment, right? What were they doing? They were taking apart the furniture that they bought in Rishon, and they were selling it back to the one in Netanya. This is how the Israelis operate. And of course, not to be outdone, the city of Tel Aviv rebranded itself, right? I mean, now Tel Aviv is halfway between the two IKEA stores. It's really whatever. For the shopping mentality, which none of you look like you have, it was quite a big moment. And then there was some violence. It's heating up here, you know. It's getting a little hot with all the, you know, whatever. It's a long story. The Americans pushing the Palestinians to riot, and sure enough they do. And then you see the sites on the Temple Mount, and then of course you see even in Jaffa, right? They're throwing these stones at the buses, right? But the reality was that was an outtake from the movie Ajami. I don't know how many of you saw this, but this is, anybody see Ajami? Whatever, it's a good movie. It came up for an Oscar nomination. And it shows, you know, among other things, the problems in this Jaffa neighborhood, okay. So, of course, it didn't win. It didn't win for those, a big story. And so the directors and actors who went out to Los Angeles, of course, immediately requested political asylum because, you know, coming back to a neighborhood in Jaffa where you didn't bring home the gold, is not a good story, and of course the Arab director blamed it on all the Jew lovers out there in Hollywood, you know, and he had this great anti-Israel speech all set, and then there was also this dispute on how much the whole thing was Israeli. So Leo says, "What do you mean? This, of course, this is Israeli to the core. Choking in the finals at the Oscar ceremony. That's about as Israeli as you can get, you know." Anyway, right, there's still also a little chatter out there on this, I wouldn't call it a botched assassination attempt, but certainly the assassination attempt in Dubai, right? You know, they sent 26 people, men and women, to kill this one guy, you know. And so you're wondering, well, it took 26 people and they left trails from here till tomorrow. The reason there were 26, no? You can all guess that, right? Because of the coalition. Each faction had to have their Mossad agent in there, right? So 24 of them were without any assignment, but whatever, they had to come up and they had to represent the whole community. Yeah, okay. Anyway, there's so many Israelis there that it's now overtaken Turkey as the favored destination for Israeli tourists, okay? They're opening a Chabad office there next week in Dubai, all the Israelis. And of course, the foreign minister is just fuming. It takes 26 people. I alone was able to destroy an entire foreign ministry. You know, you have 26 people and you can't even get one guy. You know, and of course, and then the videos are still there, you know, and of course, what's the video that the Mossad is most worried they're going to show? They're going to show the agents who took their breakfast tray 4 times. They went back for more, you know. I mean, that's a real embarrassment. But the Mossad is happy because the shows of all these agents, you know, the overweight tennis player, blah blah blah. It has now outpaced the most famous YouTube video, of course, which is the cat playing the piano. So the Mossad had another achievement in its arsenal. Anyway. So yeah. Anyway, the government is very busy. The government in Israel is very busy. They have a new commercial out. I don't know if you've seen this. This is a ministry of information on how you're going to help sell Israel. Okay, you know, should you talk about this Turkey thing? And whatever. The commercial, I don't know if you've seen it, it's eminently forgettable. This sort of Ashkenazi guy gets off a camel and he says, you know, we don't ride camels in Israel, you know. I mean, you know, we have We have ambassadors who leak information to ministers on sensitive investigations.